we going and how did we get here? The what ifs, if onlys, and where tos are asked but not answered in today's Artist Books Unshelved. Both Detours by Casey Kuehn and Diane and Cartographical Incantations by Casey Gardner offer up some practical and magical thinking to help us. Casey Kuehn founded Salient Seedling Press in 1979. She is a printmaker and textile artist. Diane is a professor of art, teaching printmaking and artist books. Kuehn and Fine brought their needles and printmaking skills together to create Detours, a book of meditations on if only. If only is a magical phrase that allows us to travel in our minds down alternate roads, possibly to different outcomes. Over time and distance, Kuehn and Fine developed the content for Detours. They made lists and honed the if-onlys from hundreds down to 12, each prefaced with a lead-in line. Navigating the terrain is the opening lead-in line for this image. If only I'd thought to put gas in the car before we crossed the border. The next page, Conventional Wisdom, is followed by if only I'd let them know my opinion right from the get-go. The level of regret we can only guess at. Initially, I thought Detours was all about regrets, but Fine corrected me. The if-onlys, she said, help us grow. Kuehn told me Detours was a pushback on regrets in a fanciful way. They each embroidered 2 of each phrase to have plenty of aesthetic choices. These embroideries were scanned and printed for the edition. The embroidered images have a lovely textural quality that enhances the look of the clothing in the digital print. The line, at the ready, leads to, if only that drawer were full of shoelaces, a problem that is easy to remedy and made me smile. The list continues, and what helps me to pause and embody each statement is the clothing. It grounds each if only, puts a person to the voice. The fabric is real, touched by human hands, and worn by bodies. They may represent roads taken or not, but they are lives lived. Second from the end, plain and simple, turns to, if only I were stronger. It's a statement that makes me want to weep. If only I were stronger is my personal magical wish. Over and over, I've worked my if only I were stronger statement until I was stronger and could step through that portal ready and empowered. Regretfully, it has not always been enough. It took some time for me to understand Detours. I eventually came to realize it documents their friendship and many years spent talking around the kitchen table. Fine and Kuehn know it is both regrets and dreams that make us who we are. Cartographical Incantations was made by Casey Gardner. It's luscious, mysterious, and even more fantastical than the 16th and 17th century Dutch maps that inspired it. I would categorize it as a book of magical spells called a grimoire. Casey Gardner has a great love for the wilderness, instilled in her while growing up in the mountains of Colorado. Her appreciation for wild spaces can be found in much of her work. She was also inspired as a young person by books that took her to faraway places of the imagination, such as Oz and Narnia. Cartographical Incantations is, I think, Gardner's version of her beloved classics, full of secret doors, magical spells, and mystical places. Sewed into these beautiful golden pages are folios that offer a perhaps. Perhaps a door hinges open. Inside the folio, we have a scrap from a map Gardner has added its reflection in symmetry. Below is written, "A map reflects our understanding of the world and our place in it." Reflect is a key word Gardner gives us at the outset. She is inviting us to look both back to where we've been and inside to who we are. Below left, Gardner provides some far-flung map histories. This one describes a cuneiform map on a clay tablet. Below right is an incantation, Wayfarer's invocation for adjusting course. On the back of this folio is another perhaps. Perhaps that is you disappearing down the stairway and into the dark, your feet echoing off the glistening road. In the next valley fold, there is another folio between the gold sheets and another perhaps. Inside each folio that follows, Gardner repeats this arrangement of three things: a mirrored map segment, a map-making story, and an incantation. Swimming among them are mythical beasts, stars, and a compass rose drawn by Gardner. On the back side of the folio, another perhaps to lead us on. These fragments began with a collection of 16th and 17th century Dutch maps Gardner saw in the Amsterdam Public Library while traveling. Gardner has worked these map fragment images digitally to clarify the lines and unify her color palette. These beautiful reflected images become mesmerizing and, dare I say, spellbinding. My favorite map-making detail is this one about the compass. Invented in Asia, the compass was originally a device for soothsaying and fortune-telling. Now that we have the lay of the land, or the organization of the book, I want to show you the backside. Gardner has created rich and varied tessellations from the map fragments, visual incantations. This is the Channeling Incantation, Enchanted Passageways, for entry into losing oneself, Convergence Zone. A person could get lost in these beautiful patterns, which I think is part of Gardner's plan. At last we come to Floating Range Incantation, Underwater Mountains, for turning home, true course. As it turns out, we have been enchanted, but not abandoned by Gardner. Altogether, Gardner's maps, fragmented and reversed, offer us more than a map of mythical places and undiscovered territories. To find a way forward, these mirror images remind us to look back and to look at ourselves. I want to leave you with her last incantation. In the wilderness of bewilderment, be wild. Do not cover your tracks. Thank you for watching. May your journeys bring you delight and understanding.